Hey everyone, Leo with the Dreaming Tree, and welcome to the assembly video for our toolbox. I actually have the prototype here, and it is super sturdy because we're going to be reinforcing it with some foam core. And we have a lot of cool little details to make it extra special, and that's what we're going to start with first. And then I'll get into all the little details. So let's do that. We've got a little bottle opener on one side. There's a nice beautiful caption on the front. We have some tools, all kinds of good stuff, and we actually are going to make some scissors that actually work. Okay, so let's just start with those. Obviously, we're going to make it so that the scissors look like scissors on both sides. Okay, so we're going to take these two pieces and these two pieces and sandwich them together. Make them one solid shape. So let's get that going. Now I remember a while back we made a little crate using like faux wood papers, or maybe we embossed them. I don't remember exactly. I think I have it here. Yeah, it was embossed. I just saw it back there. And it was like one of the biggest and most popular files we ever released. I thought it would do well. And I actually use mine to store my cards, but obviously the original intent was to make it a gift box. You can see, or a basket, I should say. Let me show it to you here. This was from a few Father's Days ago. You can see that there. I actually gave it to my dad, filled with all sorts of little goodies that he likes, and he said, you know, you should have this back so you can display it in your studio, and I appreciated that. And that's that story. But anyway, this guy here, obviously if you want to just make this to use it as storage and to have a little fun project to work on, you can omit all of these little bonus elements. You don't have to put these all together. But obviously it's part of the original design here, so we're going to go through and just put it together, or put it together. Okay, so we've got the two sections together, and what we need to do is one side's going to have this element like that, and that is not the correct one, so make sure you grab the right one. Just overlay it. Make sure that it fits correctly. Okay, so let's get that glued into place. There's a handful of little elements that we just need to put together. If you put together the box card from this bundle, the riding mower, which is absolutely adorable, you'll remember that we kind of went through and systematically just put together the various little things and then finished off with the full assembly. Okay, I'm just making sure that I'm getting the right one here, as these are not identical. Okay, so that one's going to go there. And just apply your glue very sparsely. We don't need a lot on this. Okay. And you know what, honestly, I think if you, I'm going to try this at some point maybe. I think if you sharpen this paper, which you can do, let me make sure I got the right one on there. I don't think I did. Let me pull this off while I can. Yeah, see, I'm human. I make mistakes. You can technically, I think you can sharpen paper. I know it sounds weird, but you can probably make these scissors actually cut. And I wouldn't be surprised if they just cut from the get-go. Okay, so there's that. There's the first half put together. Okay, I might just put that under my mat so that dries nice and flat. Okay, this is already put together, so we just need to put this piece on and then the other side, and this is where the brad's going to come in handy. That's why we have a brad on the supply list. We just need one. Okay, it's going to go right on there. Making scissors out of paper. This is kind of backwards a little bit. We're using a cutting machine to cut out pieces to make scissors. It's almost like we're 3D printing them or something. Okay, so this one already has some glue on it from my previous mistake, but that's okay. It'll still work. I've done this many times where I've goofed something up and I've had to reapply the glue. Worst case scenario, if you make a mistake and you peel it off, you can always just cut out another one. Not a big deal. Okay, there we go. And let's see if we remember how scissors work. That's about right, I'd say. And we put our little brad through there. Okay, and there we go. We got some working scissors. Well, let's see if we can cut some paper with it. I'm kidding. I don't think it's going to cut paper. No. I don't want to destroy the scissors, but okay. Scissors are done. We have a hammer. And if I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning. I'd hammer in the evening. All over this land. Okay. And I'm not even sure where that's from. I know it's a song. It's something that we used to sing in Catholic school. And it turned out that another song we sang in Catholic school was a song by the Byrds, To Everything, Turn, 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 which I found out was actually a Bible verse. I didn't even know that. It's a big book. I don't always, I don't read a lot. I read a lot of manuals and weird things, but I mean, I have. Obviously, I've read the great book, but it's hard to retain all that knowledge. So anyway, we got the two pieces back to back, and then the black piece is going right on top there. And of course, because we're making this double-sided, I should have another one somewhere. There, I thought I did. It'll turn up somewhere. Okay, there it is. And it's a white cord. This paper's sandable. I opted not to sand this because it's kind of like a mallet, and I don't think there's really any need to make it look beat up and rustic. I had a lot of fun with this whole bundle because it is kind of grungy. Even the handle for this thing is a 5/8 inch dowel that's 12 inches long. And you know how the dowels, they come nice and pristine like this. I had a fun time painting this and distressing it with some sandpaper and various acrylic paints as far as the colors go. Yeah, almost kind of inspired me to rough some more things up, I guess, but I don't have a lot of grungy things in my home. It's mostly like a country industrial, but not so much like a beat up version of it. Okay, so our hammer is done. We'll put that off to the side. We have another, oh, that's a mallet. This is the actual hammer. So just like we did on the mallet, we'll get the two sides glued together back to back. Nice and easy. Just line that up as accurately as you can. There we go. Press that into place, and you can see here that I did take my time and inked pretty much everything here, just to keep everything nice and consistent. And then we'll take in my case, I've got a silver foil, like a textured silver foil. That's gonna go right on top there. Just line that up as accurately as you can. There we go. We'll flip her over and put it on the other side as well. I think this would be fun for a child too. They have their own little toolbox. I don't know how long it would last. I guess it depends on the age. It could be cool. Okay, there we go. And our hammer is put together now. Okay, so we could put that off to the side. All right. Now on one side of our toolbox, we have it's a bottle opener, And that is the main layer, and then we have this cheers sentiment, which is made up of 3 layers. First one's gonna be the silver, then we have this pattern, and this pattern has one tiny little hole so that the middle of the R, you can see through it. You may not be able to see it on the video here, but you get the idea. So we're gonna take this piece and glue it to our silver shadow element, which I have right here, and glue that down. Just match that up as accurately as possible. Press that down, and then we'll take the caption and apply some glue to that. So I think the story is pretty much universal. When a man becomes a homeowner, well, he could be by himself or with his wife or whoever, you typically, that's when you become Mr. Fix-It. At least in my experience, that's when I started to learn about pretty much anything and everything related to a house and keeping it running, and I love it. I love it. Okay, so this is actually, we're gonna pop dot this on here just to give this some dimension so it's not so flat looking. I think 3 foam squares will do there. And just continue kind of working through here. And it's gonna go right here. Just get that lined up as accurately as you can. There we go. Okay, so our little beer opener's open, or done I should say. Maybe pull this out a little bit, give it some dimension, and put that off to the side. Okay, now in addition, we do have these little screws here, and I've already put together a bunch of these because there's gonna be 2 that are gonna go here and here. Okay, so we'll leave those for that. And then we have 6, 2, 4, 5, 6 that are gonna hold what typically is probably made out of leather. They're gonna hold our little tools in place. Okay, and I'll show you how that works in a little bit here. Let's get this in place first. So in my case, I've got the silver part of the little Phillips head shaped piece, and it's gonna just go on this black shape, this black circle, and there is how you make your little screws. So again, you're gonna make a total of 2, 4, 6, 8 of those. Okay, you can pause me here if you want to just go ahead and put those together. I'm going to take these and just put them off to the side until we need them. Okay, and also we have these little fasteners here. These, all I did with these was I inked them. They are, there's a perforation right in the center. If you are using a white core paper like I am for this element, it may help to just take a little bit of ink and just rub it on that white core so it blends better, kind of gets rid of that white, especially when you bring it back to a 90-degree angle. Open it up all the way so that ink can get in there, and then when you go back to 90, let's see how it looks when it's at 90. Yeah, you can see there's a little bit of white showing through there. I particularly don't like that. So I'm just going to blend that a little bit with some ink, and then when it closes up, it almost gives it like a black appearance, which is really cool. Okay, so that's the fun part about this bundle, is that you can really get crazy and have a lot of fun with the inks without worrying about perfection, because again, a lot of this stuff is supposed to look kind of beat up and rustic, just stuff that you would find in an old garage or in a garage. Old stuff that you'd find in a new garage, or both, whatever. Spent a lot of time in garages over the years, especially in high school. If you know, then you know. Okay, I won't even go into the details on that. All right, so there's my last one there. Set that with a little ink, and these we're going to use to tie everything together later on. They're partially functional, mostly aesthetic, and that's okay. And these are those little elements that we're going to use to hold our, well, kind of hold our tools in place. I did ink these. And we don't really need to do anything special to these right now. Just put those off to the side and we can work on our little caption. Okay, so the caption itself is comprised of a few different layers. This backmost layer, and then we have the actual caption, and then we have these little guys here. So with this, what we're gonna do, we've got 3 layers for this. Okay, this one here, you can see this is rounded on the corners here. We'll leave that as the backmost layer. So what we're gonna do is find this piece with the square edges, and this is gonna go right on top of it, like so. So we can flip this over and begin applying our glue right to this guy. And these funky little cutouts are the little middle portions of the caption, so we don't have to tediously put down a bunch of different letters. This just makes it easy. It's 3 pieces. Line that up as accurately as you can, press down. Okay, and we're gonna grab this piece, and you can see that when you pop that on there, we're gonna have to center it, but it creates that beautiful caption. And that silver really makes it pop. Okay, so focus most of the glue here around the perimeter. We want that to stay nice and put for us. And then we'll throw a little bit of glue on some of these little details, especially on like the H and the E. There's just any of the little pieces that look like they may be susceptible to just being ripped or torn. Okay. Don't have to get glue on every single inch of it. Do your best. But we do want to make sure that we get this nice and centered. Okay, so look at the words, then look at the little floral element down at the bottom. Make sure that's correctly lined up. Perfect. That looks great. Okay. So now this is going to get glued flat onto this element here with the round corners like this. Looks great. Okay, so let's do that. Let's get that glued down. Go ahead and apply your glue to this entire element now that we've pieced together. Like so. And you want to try to maintain a nice even border all the way around. Nice and straight. Perfect. Okay, press that down into place. Okay. And then for this next section here, you'll notice on this piece that we have a marker here and a marker here. Actually, there's a marker here and a marker here, one here, one here. And that's to help you with the positioning of this larger piece so that we get it nice and centered. So let's apply some glue to this larger piece. In my case, it's a silver foil. Okay, and use those little markers to help you with the positioning and the centering. Pardon my head if it's in the way. Okay, and then the smaller piece, it's gonna go on top. We're gonna try to maintain an even border, and it's gonna be flush on the left-hand side, like that. Okay, so let's do that. You know, these darker colors, like this one here, well, what can you really ink that with other than like a black? You can try purple if you want to just kind of, you know, singe the edges a little bit so there's a little bit of a gradient that leads to the next color, in this case the silver. Okay, so that looks good. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. Okay, use those markers. Okay, so with these 2 elements now complete, I'm going to take this one and just to give it a little bit of separation and dimension, I'm going to grab some larger foam squares here and we're going to pop these in place to give this a little bit of separation. I think that's plenty. And these are the ones that are really fun to peel off. And that was sarcasm. Okay. Really cool papers. We're going to make sure to link to the exact papers that we found. A lot of the stuff we've been using lately is not, well, is actually current and still being used and still being sold. That's not always going to happen, but for the most part, we're trying to make that available. Okay, get it nice and centered. There we go. There's a beautiful caption that's going to go on the side. Now again, if you're not making this for Father's Day, you can totally omit this and just make the standard gift box. Okay, but that looks wonderful. So put that off to the side. A couple things we're just going to go over before we get into the main assembly here. And that is the fact that we're going to be using a 5/8 inch dowel, and this one is 12 inches long. At the craft stores, you can usually find them at about 12 inches long. Some are 36. So if you can't find a 12-inch one and you have a 36-inch, you're gonna have to cut it at 12 inches, obviously, which shouldn't be a problem. And then, you know, because they come all pristine, I actually took some brown paint, mixed in a little bit of black, and painted it. Almost let it dry, and then I just kind of took a dry brush and just continued just kind of moving the paint around. And eventually, once it was mostly dry, I just took some sandpaper and just hit it in some various areas here, even tinged it with a little bit of red. And actually, you know what, that might actually be on accident, because what I was doing to speed up the drying process, yeah, I was actually holding it with an old felt applicator, and you can see there that even that ink got on there and gave it a little bit of a red color. So I mean, this is not a serious thing. What we're trying to do is make it look aged and beat up, and I think I did a really good job with that. It's really fun. Okay, so that's that. And now also, all of the walls on this, so we're gonna basically create a bunch of walls and put foam core in there. So I did one giant sheet of foam core, and you'll notice that in your download, you're gonna get this color that we cut it out of green, just so that we didn't mix it up, obviously. But on these pieces here, there's a number that's etched into it. So this one has a number 4, this one has a 1, this one has a 4, and this one has a 2. And what that means is this piece, you need to cut this out twice. Okay, I have 2 of them. Okay, this piece, you need to cut this out 4 times. So there's my 4. Okay, this piece, you need to cut it out once. And there it is. And then this piece, you need to cut it out 4 times. And this is sloppy. I mean, it doesn't need to be perfect. It's going to be hidden as long as you are within the boundary of that. And then, of course, that doesn't look perfect either, but again, it's going to be hidden. You just have to make sure that the dowel can get in there, okay? And that's pretty much it. So this is going to be your template to cut out all your foam core. And we're going to use the foam core as we progress through the assembly here and begin making our walls. I would recommend getting your hot glue gun ready, because we're going to need that for when we assemble the actual walls, okay? But for now, what we need to do here is we're going to start with the bottom, okay? And where is it here? Oh, here it is. Okay, so this largest piece here that we have, okay, this is going to go with this. You can see that these center parts here are the same size. Okay, and then of course we have these pieces here, and they both have a letter B etched into them with the perforated score marks. Okay, B for bottom. And these tabs are identical, so it doesn't matter which one's which. What we're going to do is we're going to connect these here so that we can create the tabs for the 2 sides, because this thing was too big to cut it all in one fell swoop. So we're just attaching some end pieces to this large bottom. Okay, so let's start with that. I'm going to go ahead and apply glue to this tab. And let's spread that out like so. And you can actually just put this down flat. And you're not really going to see this part. It's just going to be on the inside, but still want to make sure that you get it as accurate as you can. There we go. Perfect. Press that down, just continue holding it down. Fold it over onto itself and press down there as well. Okay. I'm going to grab the other side here, and this one's going to go right here. So just like we did a second ago, I'm going to put this down flat. Pick one of the tabs, doesn't matter which one. It's a symmetrical piece. Spread that glue out to the very edge. Grab that on there. And whatever feels most comfortable for you, get that lined up nice and centered, right up to those score marks. Right there. Okay, continue holding that down. And then I'm going to join most of it together. Not quite all of it. There we go. Let's grab these little triangular tabs, fold them in, and we're going to take these tabs and glue them to the neighboring walls here, like that, to start forming a dimensional box. Okay, so go ahead and apply your glue to this little triangular tab. I'm going to spread that glue around, tack it up a little bit, thin it out, tuck it back in, and just press and hold. And give that a few seconds to set. Shouldn't take long. As long as you keep it easy with the glue, should be able to hold it for maybe 20-30 seconds and then let it go and move on to the next side while the rest of it cures. Okay, there we go. And tuck that in. And I didn't dab it that time. And you can see it's slipping and sliding around a lot more, and it may actually take a little bit longer to completely set. Maybe not though. And the idea here, another thing too is when you squeeze real hard, you're really forcing that glue to penetrate into the paper's fibers, and that also helps it dry a lot quicker too. And I'm noticing here that I have a little bit of a gap. So I'm going to just take a scrap piece of paper and just tuck it right in there. And you know what, if that's the bottom, no one's even going to see it, but I'm OCD about pretty much everything, so I'm just going to make sure that it's nice and clean. Okay, that looks better. All right, so off to these guys here. We got two more little triangular tabs that we need to apply our glue to. I'll just hit that with my finger, thin it out, tuck it behind the neighboring wall, line it up and hold down. Okay, now before we close this up, and actually the cool thing about constructing all of these sides is it's going to go pretty easy with the last piece because we're going to have some additional stability in there that we can actually push down on. Okay, so we have one little triangular tab left here. Get your glue on there. Spread it around, thin it out. Let me get this out of the way before I start blemishing things. Tuck it in and press and hold, and just give that a few seconds. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to take these pieces, these largest pieces of the foam core, and you can see how perfectly they fit. We gave you a little bit of wiggle room in there, just in case you weren't totally spot on with the cutting, and that's fine. And what we'll do is just throw a little bit of glue, and of course this thing is starting to get cloggy on me. I've been crafting pretty much all day, so I'm not surprised, but just throw a little bit of glue in there, nice and thin, just enough to hold it in place. Pop that first one in, make sure it's as centered as it could possibly be. Okay, and then let's double layer it. So throw another layer of glue on there and pop the next layer in. Now you want to make sure that you're using the correct thickness of foam core. And like I said, just make sure that you're using the correct thickness of foam core here. It's going to be pretty important. Just check your supply list for that information. Okay, so now that we have that in there, what we're going to do is we're going to apply glue to one of the tabs. Let's spread that glue out all the way to the very edge, like so. And we're going to take this piece here, the lid we'll call it, and we're just going to anchor it to one side first. It'll just make the rest of the process a lot easier. Get it out to the very edge, make sure it's centered, and press that down. And again, we've got that foam core in there, and it gives us a little extra support to push down on, which is wonderful. Okay. Bring that down so we can press down on the rest of the tab. There we go. Okay, now open this up and we're going to apply glue to the remaining 3 sides. And I'm going to go a little bit thicker here because I've got a lot of surface area to cover. And I do also want to thin this out and spread it out to the edge. So we have so it's nice and seamless, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say. Just work quickly because I guess it depends on your glue. Maybe you don't have to work as quickly as I am. I do love this glue. Sometimes for stuff like this, it does, see what I mean? It does kind of dry really fast, but that's okay. I'm used to it and I don't mind it because it keeps things moving. All right, so close this up. Focus on getting it aligned with this side first here, the side opposite of the side that we already have it hinged on. And if you need to nudge things in a little bit, that's totally normal. And then just work that edge. Make sure everything looks nice and crisp and clean. And again, we've got the support of the box in there, or the, what's it called? Foam core, to give us something to push down on. Which means that we should be able to get this nice and perfect the first time around. And if not, you can always go in and clean up the seams. We'll see what it looks like here in a second. Okay, let's check our work and see how it all looks. And that looks pretty darn good. Okay. If you do have any little seams that are not completely flat, remember we can use our little painting method where we simply put a little bit of glue on a scrap piece of paper and just kind of tuck it in there. Okay, but that is nice and solid. Okay. Okay, so the main base is complete. I did a once over. All the seams look great. So that is done. And let's work on one of the sides. Okay. Now, the 2 sides are going to have these beautiful wood panels on them. You'll notice that there is a score mark on one. So if you are inking, I would ink up to this point here and then continue on this edge as well, just to get that nice dark seam there. And just like we did with the main base, we've got these 2 side pieces that we need to put together in order to form the side walls. Okay, and you'll notice that these 2 pieces here are specifically for the side because they have a letter S on them. There's a total of 4 of these since there's 2 sides. They're all the same, so it doesn't matter which 2 you grab for either side. Okay, but let's get that glue flowing. And just like we did last time, you can kind of just do it like this. And just line that up, a little piece of paper there. Just line that up as accurately as you can. You can use these score marks here. Now, I was a tad bit off. These score marks here, you can line those up with that score mark there. That's a good indicator that you've got it lined up properly. And we can fold this over onto itself and just check that seam. It looks good. Continue pressing that down. Okay, and then we'll go over to the other side and do the same thing on this side here, like that. So let's throw a little bit of glue on this piece here. Spread that glue out. Okay. And get that lined up as accurately as you can. Just like that. Okay, press that down. Hold it in place. And fold it over like that. Give that a really good press. Okay. And there we go. Okay, so just like we did with the base, we have these little triangular tabs. We're going to use those to join the sides together. So basically we're like, and I think I mentioned this, I had the same thought occur to me when we made that little crate. It's kind of weird, actually, if you think about it. There was once a tree that was cut down, and well, turned into a pulp, made into paper, and now we're recreating that tree. Kind of like, it's kind of weird if you think about it. Probably think too much, as I often do. Okay, so next one here, put a little bit of glue right on that tab, line it up, give it a quick press, and there we go. Okay. All right, now moving on to the other end. A little bit of glue on that tab, spread it out nice and thin, tuck it in, line it up, and press and hold. Perfect. And we have one more tab left. One more little guy there. And he is kind of tucked in there. So I'm just going to use a scrap piece of paper and paint the glue on there so I don't rip this apart. There we go. And just line that up, hold it in place, and press. Give that a few seconds to set. Okay. And there we go. All right, so careful of that edge there. Let's pull these up just a bit, like so. And we're gonna grab two of these pieces here, and these are gonna go in right here. Let's put the first one in, I wanna make sure I trimmed it to fit, and it does. So technically probably don't even have to put glue in there, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Pop that in there, press it into place, and then throw another layer on there. Press that into place. There we go. Okay, looks good. All right, and then just like we did, let's make sure these tabs go down nicely, and they do. All right, so we're gonna grab this piece now. It's one of the edge pieces here. And we have a couple of score marks here, and that's for this little divider. It's just a little reference point so that you can align it accurately on both sides. So I'll show you how that works later on. But let's get this anchored to one of the tabs initially. Okay, spread that glue out. Just like that. Grab this piece, and let's get that nice and centered right out to the very edge. There we go. Press that down. Beautiful. Okay, just make sure it's making good contact. And pull that down and press down on the tab from the inside. Actually, we don't even have to do that. We have the foam core in there, so we can push down right there, actually. Cool beans. All right, let's move this out of the way for a second, and let's apply our glue to the 3 remaining tabs here. Okay. And let's spread that glue out to the very edge of the tabs, thin it out nicely. There we go. And again, focus on getting it aligned with the side opposite of where it's already hinged. Center it, pull it towards you a little bit if necessary, or push it in if necessary. Chances are you gotta push the sides in ever so slightly to get that to line up correctly. And then continue pushing down on all 3 sides while that glue grabs and dries. Okay. Don't stop now. Check for any gaps. Kind of have had 2 gaps there. I think I was able to get it down just in the nick of time. Yep, looks good. Okay, so we've got our base. We have one of our sides. This guy here, he's going to go on after we get most of the actual structure glued together, because part of this is actually going to extend onto the base. Okay. So we can put that off to the side for now, and we're just gonna keep on trucking here. We've got another side to put together, and then we have the front and the back. Okay, so this process, again, it's gonna be it's gonna be the exact same process actually as the one we just did. So we're gonna connect these 2 sections to right here and here, and then form our walls, put our foam core in there, and then close it up. Okay, so again, I think it helps to just do it this way so you can really see what you're doing and get everything nice and aligned. And there it is, right there. So anyway, since this is kind of repetitive, I guess I can do a little story time here. Actually, just our first live stream since probably before the baby was born. That was really fun. So for those of you that joined me, thank you so much. And for those of you that won prizes, congratulations. It's always fun giving back to you guys. You guys have blessed us with the ability to do some weird stuff for a living, huh? Like taking trees that were once cut down and turned into paper and turning them back into trees and then building things from them. I'm just being silly, but yeah, it's been, I think Liesl now has about maybe 3 or 4 shifts left, and then she's gonna be a stay-at-home mom, which is great for everybody, including Mr. Peyton, who I feel like he's just gonna start talking any minute now. I know it's pretty soon. I doubt that's gonna happen, but it's gonna be very interesting to have this little baby who already has quite the personality. For him to just start muttering words, it's gonna be so weird. Okay, so again, I'm gonna start taking these little triangular tabs. It's very easy on the glue here. There's not a ton of space and not a lot of surface area. You don't need a lot. Tuck that in behind this wall, line it up, and press and hold. And we're gonna do that to the next 3 to form the dimensional portion of this guy here. Okay, going over to the other side. And we've got a vacation coming up soon, going up to Eagle River, Wisconsin. We never seem to go for enough days. I'm thinking about maybe extending it. I just feel bad leaving the cats at home for more than 3 or 4 days. They've got a robo feeder. And actually, I don't know if you guys with cats do this, but I just leave the tub on, like trickling. They just drink out of the tub. They always have fresh water, which is nice. And then I just have someone come and scoop litter every other day or so. And they have 2 litter boxes, and they've got a cat run that they can go outside and get some fresh air in. Pumpkin's an outdoor cat during the day when I'm home. I don't just let him out. I've got a tracker on him. He's my little buddy. I gotta take care of him too. And but yeah, 4 days just isn't long enough, I feel like. Maybe one day we'll have our own place up there and just bring the cats with for a week. That'd be fun. I'm sure they would love it. Okay, so tuck that last tab back there. So if you live in Eagle River and you have a place going up for sale, contact me. Those properties up there are so expensive that I don't think there's ever a way I could afford it, but who knows, maybe someday. Okay, all right, so we've got that, and now why do I feel like oh, there we go. All right, so just like we did the first time, we're gonna grab these 2 pieces. Okay, we're gonna put those inside, move these tabs out of the way so it's easier to get them in there. And just do a little zigzag, pop that in there. There we go. Another layer. Pop that one right on top. Make sure it's in there nice and centered. There we go. And let's feel it. Make sure that, there we go, that's good. Okay. And then just like we did the last time, take this and put it onto one of the sides here, just to anchor it first. I'm gonna anchor this side. Doesn't matter which side. Okay, spread that glue out. And then really you just have those, the front and back little caps to put together, and then the rest of it is just kind of shop class, I guess. Okay. All right, so again, nice and centered, right out to the very edge. And press that down into place. Make sure it's making good contact throughout. There we go. Give that a few seconds. Okay, let's peel it back gently. Let's expose those 3 remaining tabs. Apply your glue. Gotta work quickly here. Got a lot of space to cover. And again, you can always go back in and clean things up if necessary. All right, spread that glue out. There we go. There we go, okay. All right, close her up and focus on this side here, the long side. Make sure it's nice and centered all the way out to the edge. Should feel nice and flush. If you need to kind of push the sides in a tad, of course, that's always expected and normal. And just keep running your finger along the perimeter to help that paper maintain contact on that tab until that glue says you ain't going nowhere. Okay, there we go. Perfect. What do we got here? Okay. All right. Well, that turned out nice. Okay, so that side is done. Looks good. And then here's the corresponding panel to go along with it. Put that off to the side for now. And before we get into the front and end caps here, let's just put together this little divider. Let me make sure that I cut it right. Yeah, it looks pretty good. A little off, but it doesn't matter. Okay, and this is very similar to what we were just doing. We have the little triangular tabs. I'm gonna glue those to the sides here, to the main parts of the wall. Okay, and actually I'm going to take this and fold this back, get it out of the way so it's easier to pinch this. Tuck that right behind, line it up and hold. And that tab is even smaller, which means less glue. Okay, and should go real quick. All right, next one here. There we go. Tuck that in, line it up, nice and straight. And now obviously the divider is optional. If you don't want to use it, you don't have to. Okay, but I think it's a nice touch. All right, hold that in place and then move on over to this side here. I'm going to do this side last, the side that has all this weight on it. Let's do this one next. That's fine. Tuck that in. Okay, and hold that in place for a few seconds. And let that go. And then finally, we have one last triangular tab here. A little too much glue there. It's okay. And bring that in, line it up, and press and hold. You really want to hold that in place for a little bit longer because it's got a lot of weight that it's supporting. Not that it can't do it, because it will, but just want to take your time with this one. Don't let it go prematurely. Okay. All right, cool. So now I'm going to throw a little bit of glue inside here just to hold our little foam core in place. I can move these out of the way for a second. Pop that right in. There we go. And let's feel it out. Okay, I didn't cut this one very well. Let me flip it. Maybe that's what I need to do. There we go. Actually, I just needed to kind of fold it a little bit better. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, cool. So that works. And let's close it up. Let's apply our glue to these 3 tabs. Spread that glue out to the very edges. And this one, obviously, because of the size, the little lid was already anchored, so we don't have to worry about that. And just bring that down. And this, I'm having to kind of nudge the walls in a little bit more. There we go. And just press down. Here we go. And there we go. I might need to do a little cleanup on this. We'll see. See how it goes. Okay. And just give it a once over. Make sure all the seams are nice and tight. Everything's making good contact. And there we go. Okay, so that one's done. And yeah, so now all that's left is to make our little side, the front and end caps, front and back end caps. Okay, and it's gonna be a little bit different. So just stick with me here. And there's a round section at the top. And these are numbered, okay? So we have a number 1. Here's your number 2. We have a number 3. And the 4 is 4 dashes in the shape of a square. Okay, and they're actually, your machine is going to write those in, or I'm sorry, cut those in, kind of like a score mark with your blade. Okay, so we're gonna make 2 of these. So of course, you wanna get these guys ready to go too. We have a 1, we have a 2, we have a 3, let me move this up, and we have a 4, okay? And then each of these is going to have one of these. And then each of these is also going to have one of these with a hole in it and one without a hole in it. And what I just realized was I have one little spot that I did not ink, that I inked on the other one. and that's just this little hole. So actually what I did was I kind of grabbed it like this so that I don't hit the, just hit the little edge there and not the surface of the paper too much anyway. It's okay if you hit it a little bit. I'm gonna focus it right around there. And you can see what that does to it. It's so cool. I love inks. They really just take things to another level. That sounds cliche, I guess I just did. Okay, and then again, this one's gonna have the same two pieces like that. And we'll just start putting one together. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take these pieces and just kind of line them up numerically. So I've got one and, wait a second here. Yeah, so we got 1, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4. Okay, and those are just gonna all be joined together. 1, 2, 3, and 4, like so. Okay, so let's do that first. And we're gonna do that by way of these little tabs, these little triangular tabs. So let's first put some glue on the right-hand side of piece number 1. Thin that out nicely. You can actually just put this down on your surface. Grab the next piece here, line it up, nice and centered. Press that down. And then what I like to do to ensure that I got it lined up properly is fold it over on itself. And you'll see that these edges here for the tabs, they should line up, and this should also be flush. Okay, and I'm squeezing as I hold it and explain that to you. Okay, so there's that. So piece 1 and 2 are joined together. We're going to take and apply glue to the other tab on piece number 2 and grab piece number 3 and line that up nicely. Give that a quick press initially and then fold it over onto itself and check your alignment. Looks good. I'll give that an extra press there. Okay. And then finally, piece number 4. Throw a little glue on that tab, thin it out, and let's get that lined up. There we go. And let's hold that in place. Then fold it over onto itself. Check that alignment, give that a quick press. There we go. Okay. So you can see what's happening here. We've got the top part, the side, the bottom, and then the other side. And it's gonna be shaped like that. All right, so now here, got this last tab. I'll throw a little bit of glue in there and just get that connected with the other end. And you kind of have to just hold this up in the air while you do it. Just give that a second. Okay. All right, so next what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab, where the heck did it go? There it is. I'm gonna grab this piece. And you'll notice the difference here between these pieces is that this brown piece is just ever so slightly smaller. Let's see if I can illustrate that. Yeah, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell. That's okay. Here's what we're gonna do. This piece is essentially like a little skeleton piece. So we're gonna actually shove it in here. And it's gonna help maintain the shape of this and accurately maintain the shape of it. And you can see that it just kind of just naturally just falls into place, okay? And we're gonna actually take this and glue this to this little skeleton piece. And I'm gonna start up here. Actually, you know what? I'm not gonna start up there. I'm gonna start right here. I'll start on this side. Pardon me. Start here. And this is one of those things where I'm not worried about spreading the glue out. I just wanna make sure that I get enough glue on there. And just press that down, like so. Okay. Let's take a look at that. Let's make sure this is sitting pretty. Nice. Very nice, okay. So we can go over to this side now. Let's glue this side down. This is actually very easy. We'll fold that down, put it down on your surface, and press down from the inside. so. Okay, so now these two sides are in place. And I think at this point it's safe to, well, that one, I accidentally glued it down, I guess. Oh well, whatever. Put that on those three little triangular teeth, tuck it under, press down. There we go. Those are in place. And we can go over here to these guys, throw a little glue on them. And you know what, since this is flowing so well, let's just do two at a time here. Okay, tuck that down, put it down on your surface. Make sure it's nice and flush up against there. Push that down into place. Okay, so we've got all those, and then the last one here is this guy. So let's just get some glue on this tab. Nice and easy. Fold it over. And press that down into place. And there we go. Okay, so we have the bones of this thing put together. Now is when we need to put our little foam piece in here. Okay, so of course, just like with the last ones, we're going to put two of them in here. Let's make sure they fit. Okay, and double check and make sure that your dowel goes through the hole. Mine does. Just a little bit of glue. Pop that in there. Okay. And just another little layer of glue here. Throw that in there. Make sure that the holes match up for where the dowel goes and that it goes through both layers, and it does. You can see that the cutout for the hole was not like perfect, and that's okay. Just make sure that the tabs sit nice and flush, and they do. And then this guy up here. Okay, so now what we need to do, obviously this side is the side that we're going to glue the panel without the hole, and this side's going to need the panel with the hole. Okay, so what I'm going to do, and similar to what we've been doing, I'm just going to anchor it to this bottom one first. Spread that glue out. Now this paper is not as textured, not as porous. It's going to slip and slide around a little bit more than the other ones, but that's okay. We're just going to have to be a little more patient while it dries. Again, making sure that we've got it all the way out to the very edge, nice and centered. And we've got that foam in there holding it so that we can press down right here. And that entire tab is making good contact now. And let's take a look and see how it all looks. That looks perfect, okay? So we can take this and flare this out and apply our glue to the remaining tabs here. This will be a little bit easier for me because the paper, it's kind of got like a, let's just feel it's smooth basically without getting all crazy with the description. It just feels more smooth. It's just not textured, and that's going to give me a little extra time to work. Sometimes with that AC cardstock, by the time I get to that last tab, the glue feels very dry. All right, so let's bring this down. Let's get it aligned here at the top first. Get those little teeth in place, and then just work your way down. And once you get this in place and everything's tucked in and all making good contact, if you want to run, your ink pad across it one more time, just to finish it off, you can. That'll hide any little imperfections. Okay, keep pressing that down. Let's take a look, make sure we don't have any gaps. Just give it a once over. Okay, there we go. Had a little bit of a gap down there. Might need to clean that up. Okay, and again, great time to grab that ink pad and just hit the edge here if it didn't come out completely perfect, and that'll kind of cover up any imperfections, but mine came out pretty darn good. And again, that's another reason why I love these types of projects where everything is just really majorly distressed. You can't go wrong adding a little extra ink to things. Perfect. Okay, cool. All right, so we're gonna flip it over and we're gonna do the same thing here. Just put this entire piece down, get that nice and centered. Okay, so with this, I can actually just put glue on the entire piece. And we may need to go in and use our little painting method to clean up any little gaps we may have, because we may end up with some, and that's okay. Just want to get it in place. I'm going to start at the bottom here and the sides, just like that, and then just work my way up. Okay, just try to get that as centered as you can. There we go. And then I'll rough this up a little bit more. There we go. Nice solid piece of wood, and then when you pop that dowel in there, it's going to hide any of that white that you may see from the foam core. But boy, that like seriously feels like a piece of wood. Okay, so just to kind of recap what we've done so far, got the majority of this ready to go. We've got one more of these pieces to put together. Now remember how we did that. We have piece number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. Okay, we're going to join them all together just like we did. So we'll start with piece number 1. Grab the tab, get that glue on there, thin it out. Take piece number 2, line it up, press down, and then fold it over onto itself. Make sure it's all lined up here and there. And there we go. Going to be moving a little bit quicker now, since we've already done this, and I don't have to explain every little thing. And this time around, if I happen to come upon any additional little tips, I'll be happy to share them with you, but for the most part, we're just creating the dimensional part of this side and not much else to it. Okay, and as you can see, I'm moving pretty quick here because that glue is thin. I'm not going too crazy with the glue. Okay, line that up, give it a press, fold it over onto itself, check your alignment. Looks good, perfect. And we'll take the other end here, got this tab, throw a little glue on there, thin that out, and we're going to connect these two ends together. Whatever's the most comfortable for you. There we go. And hold that in place. And then just like we did the first time, I'm going to grab our little skeleton piece here. Oh, finger got stuck to that one there. Okay, let's pop it in there so it can start holding the shape for us. There we go. Get those tabs down, just like that. And just like we did the first time, I'm going to start by applying glue to this tab here. Don't need to worry about. Just make sure that it's all the way down as far as it can go up against this piece here, and that it's all nice and aligned here on the edge as well. We'll go over to this side. A little bit of glue there. Fold that under. Press that down. Like that. Okay, then let's go up here let's get our little teeth in place. Those should be just naturally centered now since we got those other ones in place. Kind of pushing these in a little bit, just making sure everything is centered. And press down. Okay, beautiful. Let's go up here. A little bit of glue here. And then bring that down. Okay, and then here. Fold that over. And you can see after you do it. Oh, I used to say this all the time in my videos. This is my first time putting this together, believe it or not. And that's true with every project on the site. Not completely true, but mostly true. All right, last tab. So, in a sense, it's kind of good that it's my first time because I'm not going to rush through it. I really have to think things through methodically. I'm just kind of reverse engineering the assembly each time. And I think that's why the videos turn out so well, because I'm not overly cocky. I'm slowing down where I need to. Okay, all right, so back to this now. Got to glue down our little foam. Just throw a little glue in there, pop that first piece in. Make sure it's nice and centered. Make sure the dowel fits, it does. Let's do another layer on top of that. Put the next piece in. And again, making sure it's centered. Check to make sure the dowel goes all the way through. It does. Okay, let's get a feel for the tabs. Make sure they all hug this thing nicely, and they do. Okay. All right, so again, this side here, since this side's closed, this is the side where we need to put the side with the hole. So we're going to anchor this to the bottom. Spread that glue out, nice and thin. There we go. Grab this piece with the hole in it and get that nice and centered. Right out to the very edge. Press that down into place. There you go. Let's check out the rest of it. And I think I did a better job on this side than I did on the other one. It's okay. I mean, it still looks good. And really think about what we're doing here. We're not robots, we're humans. So there's always going to be that little margin of error. Being human, you always make mistakes. And that's okay. We just know how to clean them up. Okay, so applying glue to the remaining tabs here. Spread that glue out so we get nice clean seams. Just dab the teeth. There we go. Okay, let's close it up. Get it, focus on the teeth first. Make sure it's nice and secure and nice and flush. And then work your way around. You have to nudge those walls in ever so slightly, totally normal. There we go, keep pressing. Let's go over here, nudge those walls in. And there we go. And just continue pressing down around the perimeter. Just like that. Okay, let's check those seams. I bet you could make like furniture out of all this stuff. I don't know how sturdy it would be, especially for, well, for a human, maybe for a cat or something. There you go. There's a new website. 3D paper cat furniture. How about that? Let's do that. Okay, and again, if you want, where did it go? Can brush this up a little bit right along that seam. Man, this looks better than some of the wood that you get from various places, like in IKEA even. I dig it. Okay. All right, so that looks good. And now finally, we're just one step away here from wrapping this up. So it'd be a good time if you need your hot glue gun to warm up a bit. This would be a good time to get it fired up. Okay. And let's pop this into place. I'm looking at the bottom, flat part of the bottom first, and working my way up. There we go. And just continue to run your finger along the perimeter. Make sure it's making good contact all the way around. Okay, check those seams. I'm gonna grab my ink pad. I should probably wait a little bit for that glue to completely set. It's still kind of white in some spots. That's okay. There we go. Brilliant. As they say across the pond. Look at that. Cool, man. All right, so now just kind of give you a little overview on how this is going to work. Let me get my hot glue gun fired up. All right, so we've got our base, and what we're going to do is going to put our sides on first. They're going to go on top of the base, not on the side, but on top. So you can see here on top, not on the side, on top. Okay. Same with this one. It's going to go on top. We're going to glue those down first. Okay. And then these guys are going to go on the sides like this. Okay. And that's pretty much it. All right, so let's do that. Let's get our hot glue gun flowing here. We've got an extra stick. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to use hot glue. I don't know why I just thought I was going to use hot glue. I'm not using hot glue. I'm just going to be patient and let this glue do its job. I think it's actually stronger than the hot glue, but I do want to make sure that I cover this completely. You can use hot glue if you want, obviously. That's your call. I like this glue better. And plus, it's thinner, so I'm not going to have like a gap on this at all. Okay, so again, pop it right on top, make sure it's centered, and then just continue pressing down. Make sure it's nice and centered. And you just have to be patient and let that completely set. Okay, and if you want, you can kind of look at it from this angle too. How's that looking? No, mine's not. Mine was not completely centered, so I'm going to try that one more time. And that's okay. It'll still look good. Just make sure you get it as centered as possible. That is our goal here. I was just a tad bit off. So my head might get in the way here. There we go. Much better that time. And again, make sure it's flush on the outside here as well. If you need to, you can kind of do it this way too, and push down a little bit there. And let's let this set. And it's going to dry nicely for us. And it's very helpful to have that foam core in there so we can make this nice and tight. Okay, and that looks like a pretty good 90-degree angle there. So we're going to do the same thing here on this side, like so. Okay, I'm going to put our panels on after we get the structure built. Okay, again, hot glue, you can use it if you want. I actually think this stuff's stronger. Sometimes, I don't know what it is, maybe I don't let the hot glue get hot enough or something, but I've used hot glue on stuff, and if you tug on it, this really just kind of comes off. It's weird. Okay, And just line that up nice and centered, just like we did the other side. Nice and flush. And hold that down. All right, so this stuff dries pretty quick. I'm sure it hasn't fully set, but it's set enough to where I'm comfortable working with it. So next we're gonna take one of these end pieces and literally just glue it to one of the sides here. So to do that, okay, you see how it's gonna go? It's gonna go like this. And while we're holding this in, we may need to kind of move these walls out a little bit to get them to line up correctly with the edge of this piece. And then I'm just gonna kind of hold it like this and pull it towards me with my fingers here. Okay, I'm just gonna do that. Eventually, once it grips, we can then flip it like this and just apply some very gentle downward force to really help it grip even more. Okay, but let's, where's my glue? I'm gonna apply glue to these 3 walls here. Again, you can do the hot glue if you want. I think that hot glue might add a little bulk to it, so it may not look as seamless, which is why I'm avoiding it. And again, I don't think it's as strong, but maybe I'm just using the wrong hot glue. I don't know. I thought they were all the same. Get a nice amount of glue on there, cover that whole thing. We want as much of this surface with glue on it as possible so it can really hold it nice and steady for us. Okay, and again, make sure that the hole, this hole right here, is facing inside. We don't want it on the outside because then the dowel's gonna have no place to go. All right, so use your table as kind of a guide, and don't forget that we may need to kind of push these walls out ever so slightly to get them to line up with that end piece. Okay, here we go. And let the glue do its thing for a minute. Feel it, make sure that everything is nice and flush. I'm kind of pushing it up against my body, adding a little extra leverage there. And just push and hold. There we go, perfect. And the table, if done properly, helped us align the bottom. It's sitting nice and flat, so that's a good sign. Okay, and we'll just keep holding that for a few extra seconds. And there we go. Yeah, baby. Looking good. Yeah. Okay, well, don't let go just yet. Give it a few extra seconds. Awesome. Cool, man. There we go, nice and straight. Everything is great. All right, cool. All right, so now I'm gonna put this other end piece on, and because we did so well with this side's like almost pretty much perfect as well. I think I might have to move this wall out a little bit as I'm holding it. And then the other thing we need to do at this point too is to get that dowel in there. Now you can leave it loose if you want, or what you can do, and this is gonna be, you have to do like 2 things at once here. Hot glue, you can use some hot glue so that it doesn't spin around. I don't mind it spinning. I don't think it's a huge deal. But let's just get this done here. So just like we did on the first side, we're gonna apply our glue to this wall here. Spread that out on the entire surface as much as you can. Okay, and I'm just gonna kind of dab it so I don't accidentally get it all over the place. Okay. Spread it nice and thin. Actually, thinner than it is. You don't want it too thin. It's actually pretty wet right now. Okay, hot glue is hot. So I can throw a little bit of hot glue inside the hole here for the dowel. I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. And of course, I just run out of glue at the exact wrong time. It's okay. I think I got enough on there. Let's put the dowel in on one side and get the dowel in on the other side, and then line that up. Put that down on your surface. Make sure it's all the way down. And now check your walls here on the sides. And let's push that into place and hold it. And just keep on pushing. Let the glue do its thing. Oh yeah. Awesome. Give that a few seconds to set. And then we just have a couple panels to put on the sides and on top here to finish off that wood feel. And we just have those little embellishments to put on, and we'll call it a day. This is really cool. I can't wait to show this to people and be like, what? That's made out of paper? They're not gonna believe it, actually, because of how sturdy it is. Awesome, look at that. Okay. All right then. Did I let it go prematurely? No, I don't think so. I think it's fine. Don't break it, Leo. That's so cool. All right, so panels now. You can see here, these panels are gonna go right on top here and then down the side. And it should meet perfectly at the bottom. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start by anchoring it at the top actually. So let's get our glue flowing on this top part first. Okay, and could spread that glue out to the very edge. Get a nice clean seam there. Okay, and just line that up with the very top of the side piece. Press that down, just push it in as far as it'll go. And continue pushing down. There we go. Take a look at that seam. Beautiful. Okay, and then we can flip this back gently and apply our glue. I'm running out of glue on this thing. I used a lot of glue today. That's a good sign. It's a good sign that I've been productive. Work that glue all the way out to the edge. Okay. And just very carefully bring it down. And it should magically just line up with that bottom. You can kind of press that down into place. Just make sure that bottom is nice and flush. And if you have any gaps, of course, you can always go in and clean it up. Okay. Look at that. Holy moly. What is going on here, guys? What a fun project, actually. I'm digging this. Look at that. There's no way it's made out of paper, people are gonna say. Insanity. Insanity, guys. Okay, cool. All right, so one more time here on the other side. Just put some glue on just that little tab. And don't forget, spread that glue to the very edge just so it doesn't come peeling back. I want it to look natural. Okay, get that right in place. There we go. Press that down. It's pretty incredible what you can do with paper. Okay, just keep on pressing down. Nice clean seams, no gaps. sorry, I'm getting lost in this, and I'm very proud of my dowel work. I really made it blend in nicely. I'm actually kind of good at this, I think. Maybe a little bit. All right, so let's peel this back now, and let's wrap this up as far as the main structure goes. How cool is it? I almost just dropped an expletive. I'm so excited right now. Okay. All right, pop that down. Look at that. And that is just also a testament to the impeccable engineering from our Diana. She actually designed this piece too. Prototyped it, all the above. Okay, so I'm seeing a little bit of white from the white core showing through here. So I'm just gonna take some of my ink and just hit that with a little extra ink. I don't want any of that white showing through. I don't want people to even think this is paper. That's the idea. Okay. How cool is that? Look at that. That's so cool. Okay, this insert here, again, totally optional. What I would do is just figure out where you want to put it. And you actually don't even need to glue it down. You can just kind of use it as is. It's pretty sturdy. If you do want to glue it down, I would just put glue on the bottom of this and then slide it down. Because if you put glue on the sides, I don't think it really needs it. Holy moly. Jeez, that is so cool. Okay, getting too excited here. All right, anyway, to finish this thing off now, we have, remember these guys, and I don't remember if there are little markers for this or not. Yeah, of course there are. Yeah, there are markers there. They're a little tough to see, but I can see them. Okay, and they're gonna go like this. So just follow the markers there. I'll just throw a little bit of glue on the inside of these guys, and these are just gonna go on the corners here. Just locate the markers to help you with the positioning. I see one marker there. Let me do this one first, so I can actually see the marker on that one. Okay, oops, I'm off camera here. Sorry, that one's gonna go there. And as I go around here and I see any little areas with too much white showing, I'm just gonna hit that with a little ink. Okay, so that one's there. And then this one here, I think, let's see, does that look right? Yeah, there it is. Okay, so we do have markers to help you. And these are gonna go right in between the markers. Okay. I'm glad we ended up doing this, because it's something different, but it's so cool. Look at that. That's so cool. Okay. So we'll finish this up. Find the marker there. Just pop that right on the corner. Pop that into place. And then we can jazz these up with some bling too, to put like little nails in there, because that'll look cool. Okay. Look for those markers. If you're off a little bit, oh well. Okay, see that? That looks great. A couple more. And trying to find the markers. There they are. Pop that into place. Okay, and where are you? There you are. I see you, buddy. Okay. All right, two more of these little fellas. I hope you guys make this. I'm sure a lot of you will. It's a very fun project. I think your husbands will be pretty impressed too. When you tell them that this is made out of paper, they're gonna be like, what? Okay, sorry, I'm just kind of at a loss for words right now because I'm very happy with how this turned out. There we go. Okay, sturdy, sturdy, sturdy. All right, wonderful. Now, well, I know there's markers on both sides of this, and I think one side has nothing on it, correct? And the other side there's some markers to help you with the positioning of the world's best dad caption. See if I can find it. It's so hard to see because, oh, wait, there it is. See it? Yep. Okay. It's going to go right there, I think. Let me see. Yep. Yeah, just like that. So there's going to be a little bit of space down here. And I'm going to use some foam squares on this. Let's go. Let's go. How exciting. I think you guys are going to be really impressed with this, hopefully. So just throwing some foam squares on here. I'm going to be kind of generous with this one. And flip it over, give it the old push test. Make sure it's not sagging too much in any of the spots. I'm going to add a few more here. This is probably one of my favorite pieces of all time. I'm just going to start making furniture, I think, like I said earlier. Obviously, I'm kidding. But who knows? I mean, with this, anything's possible. And I'm sure there's going to be people that, those of you that have dollhouses that are watching this and you heard me say, oh, I'm going to make furniture, I bet that would be actually really cool to do. I've been asked that many, many times, and the problem is with a lot of things, actually, when you guys make requests for certain things that maybe just aren't popular enough. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know it's your thing, but because we're such a niche and a small company, it has to be something that resonates with enough people. Otherwise, we're making things at a loss, and at the end of the day, it's still a business. I hate saying that, but it's the truth. And I think I put, yeah, that guy's he's gonna need to come off. I put one up too high. Okay, whoops. There we go. World's best dad. Is that centered? I think it's a little cockeyed. I have to fix that a little bit. That's okay. There we go. Okay, so again, you can omit that if you're not making it for Father's Day, obviously. I think that looks great. One side, we again have markers for pretty much everything. And this side is the side we're going to put our tools on. This side has the marker for our little beer opener. And that's going to go right there like that. Okay, so we're just going to glue that down flat. And then we have two little screws that we're going to screw into place. And also, we found some really cool bling by Tim Holtz. So I may actually use that instead. I'll show you where it goes. So this is going to go right here, like so. Make sure it's nice and straight. Nice and level, I should say. Okay, so you're going to need two screws for this. But as I mentioned, where did I put mine? Yeah, I got a whole package of them here. I don't know if I have any that are the exact size, but let's see if that'll fit in there. Yeah, so they do. I have some other larger ones, but these two screws are going to go right here for you if you don't have the bling that I'm planning on using. Okay, but I'm going to use the Tim Holtz stuff instead. So we wanted to provide that. All right, so almost done here. I am super happy with this thing. It is awesome looking, and it's huge. Perfect for large gifts. Yeah, I mean, if you walked by this and didn't know it was made out of paper, you wouldn't know it was made out of paper. That's how lifelike it is. Super cool. Okay, so last leg here. These are essentially like faux, what is it? Faux leather, I guess you could say. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna just take a dowel and just wrap those around a nice thick piece of dowel, or a thick dowel, I should say. And just to kind of get that middle part out, and then take that side piece and train it out. Okay, that's maybe too thick. Let me find a dowel that's a little thinner. There we go. So just wrap the center around a dowel like that, and then take the edge, curl it back a little bit like that, and then like that. And then we can just kind of naturally go like that. And you'll notice here on this other side that we have a series of little markers, and those markers are to help you with the placement of these guys here. And I'm seeing, what am I seeing? Yeah. Okay, so that's gonna go like right about there, like that. And then the little tools are just gonna slide right in there. Okay. I think I need to go a little bit thinner on this dowel. And then just again wrap the ends like that. I'm trying to create a look like that. Okay. And this piece of paper is pretty stiff, but that's okay. So what we want to do here, I'm just going to put glue around this little circular part on both sides, like that. And if it's easier for you, maybe just do one side at a time, and just find those little markers to help you with the placement. I've got shadows hitting me right now. There it is. And that one's going to go right there like that. And just hold that in place for a few moments. Make sure it's nice and straight. There we go. Just hold that. No, don't destroy the other side while you're doing this. Okay, just hold that in place. Let me move this more on camera here. You can see what we're doing there. Just like that. Okay. Just don't let it go prematurely. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our little hammer, slide it through here, and just with some foam squares, just kind of pop dot it, just to add a nice little decorative touch to it. Okay, so again, grab your dowel, wrap it around the center like this, just to get it going. Okay, and then take the ends and curl them back. Just pinching the end against the dowel in my finger, curling it back, and then just kind of give it a little squeeze in. Don't crease it though, that's what we're trying to avoid. We're trying to make it look round, I guess you could say. Okay, and then again, just a little bit of glue around the holes. And this is where the rest of the little screw pieces are going to go. So if you don't have the fancy screws that I do, like from Tim Holtz, you can just use the ones that we provide. Okay, just like that. And that one should be mostly centered. Okay, just hold that in place. And there's going to be a total of 3 of these, side by side. Okay, just continue holding that in place. Let it completely set before you let go. There's quite a bit of tension on here, especially because I've got this paper, seems like it's maybe thicker than like 80 pound. Okay, let's get the last one in place here. Just curl that around, like so. There we go. And there we go. Just trying to form it. Perfect. Again, if you are using thicker paper like I am here, and you prefer to use some hot glue for this, you can. I won't stop you. Okay, just use that little guide to help you with the positioning. Just make sure everything is nice and lined up. There we go, and just hold that in place. I'll show you what it looks like here in a second. There we go. Okay, so you can see all three of them there. And don't let go just yet. There we go. Okay, so we've got all three of them on there now. Again, don't forget to put the little screws on there in between where those little holes were. So right here, you can put these in there like that. I'm probably going to use the Tim Holtz ones just because they're really cool looking. And so our little mallet, part of it's going to be sticking up, so I would just put foam squares on this part of it. So let me get some of those out here. And just to be sure that it's not going anywhere, I'm going to do 4 of them. These peel off way easier. Okay, so we'll stick that through and go down as far as you can. Make sure it's nice and straight. Let go, mister. I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. Just like that. Okay. And let's get our hammer. Let's see what that's going to look like here. Put that in here. Yeah, so a little bit's going to be sticking up. When you put the foam squares on there, just don't go all the way up to the top of the hammer. Okay. I'll do one there, one there, one there, and one about there. And I've got the hammer head pointing to the left. It's not a huge deal if it's pointing to the right. I mean, I'm just trying to fill in the negative space as much as possible. And I'm going to align that pretty much at the same height, or sorry, the same bottom part where the mallet is. Okay, so there we have it. You can see that from that angle. And then our scissor, you could probably just pop those in and it'll stay. Okay, so there you have it. You might want to maybe put one little foam square on there just so that it stays in place, but I think it's cool how it is. So again, don't forget to put the little screws right here in these little holes. I'm going to do that anyway, and that's going to do it. Now it's time to go shopping and find some cool stuff for Dad. I'm thinking colognes, hot sauces, maybe something for the barbecue as far as marinades, seasonings, a tie, wallet, all sorts of stuff will fit in this thing. It's huge. So it's going to do it for this one, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. If you did, please visit us on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. While you're there, hit the little bell so you get notifications anytime we release a new project, whether it be paid or free. And if you make this or anything from our Love Dad bundle, I'd love to see it, and so would the rest of our community. So head over to your Facebook and do a search for Dreaming Tree Official. That's where you'll find myself and over 40,000 other dreamers that inspire us daily. So happy Father's Day to all the dads out there, and as always, I look forward to crafting with you again. Hey, thanks for crafting along with me. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, check out some of our other videos, and also please consider hitting that subscribe button. And don't forget to visit our site and check out our free SVG section where we have over 140 free SVG files complete with assembly videos. I look forward to crafting with you soon.